everyone. This is Kristen Yaquinto, the personal move consultant from the Fox Run Sales Office. And today we're bringing to you the second series of our virtual event, which is all about downsizing and the pre-move planning. And today our special guests are Kristen Drury and Nicole Hyman with Realty Simplistic. They're our senior move managers, and they're here today to talk to you about the downsizing process and planning for your future move. Kristen and Nicole, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
I'm so glad that we can continue on from our first series, and where you talked about the real estate market and real estate updates. Today's all about downsizing and really getting our customers, our future residents, ready for a move. And I guess I want to know, what is it about the downsizing process that can be daunting for people?
When we first go to a client's home, the first thing we do is walk through the home with them, and it's serving a few different purposes. One, we're kind of keeping track of what some areas may be more challenging for this client, and also listening to them. So if they're telling us they host all of the holiday parties and they entertain a lot, we know that the kitchen may be a difficult, overwhelming area of the home for them to downsize.
And it's also an opportunity for us to walk down memory lane with them. It's how we get to know our clients and how we form a bond.
That's great. I meet with a lot of folks in their homes, and really my goal today for this series is to help inspire people to just get started. Oftentimes I'm being invited into somebody's home to start that process, to talk about what it is that you might need to do to get yourselves ready for a move. And oftentimes it's downsizing. And so I'm introducing our customers to our preferred partners, such as yourself.
So as we walk through the home, some other areas, everyone seems to have a Costco closet. That's an area that's difficult to find a place for those items in an apartment. So people who have an entire room dedicated to their home office is another tough place to downsize, and takes time, and that job can kind of be overwhelming and a drag. Like, people don't look forward to downsizing their office. Photo albums are another area, photos. And then also things that are coming up from your basement. You might have a nice little stack of items that you want to move from the basement to Fox Run, but there is not a space in your apartment for those items.
And also, don't forget about the belongings that are in furniture, in drawers or on shelves of furniture, and the furniture is not coming with us on the move. So we have to find places in the new apartment for what was there.
All those little crevices and nooks and crannies that we might forget about.
Right.
And you're helping them to determine, what is still here and what's going to go.
Correct.
Would you say that you kind of take over? I think sometimes people fear, like when I start talking to customers about a senior move manager and why it might be a good idea for them to think about, at least have a consultation, a lot of times people think, are they going to come in and just start taking everything from me and deciding where things go? So can you maybe talk a little bit about that, and maybe how you ease people into your process and using a senior move manager?
So once we've helped a client identify some areas that do need downsizing, we encourage them to start early, and then we encourage them. So if we are helping, we're helping them to go through the possessions, and they are making the decisions what they're going to keep, what they would like to donate, what their children are taking. So it's definitely on their timeline, and it's their decision. We're just here to help carry the load for them and make the process less overwhelming.
But we work together.
So I'm hearing you work as a team, really. You're kind of like, you're that guide that's going to help keep the vision,
Yes.
right? Keep
Yes.
them on task and on target.
Yes.
So would you say that you run into clients that want to do things on their own, and I always say, like, tackle the monster on their own, and they think they're going to do it? Have you ever run into something like that, where they've got a really big job to do, You have wonderful services that can help ease the heavy lifting and the burden from them, but they still want to hold on to that. Tell me a little bit about maybe what's happened in those cases.
So we often run into that. Again, using the kitchen example, it may be an emotional space to downsize. And also someone, if they do have 3 sets of dishes, don't understand that when they're coming to Fox Run, they are going to need 1 set of dishes. And sometimes it's hard to give up grandma's dishes or great-grandma's dishes, and where will they go? Also understanding how many baking sheets you really will use in an apartment-sized kitchen. But what we notice is, so it is an area, and if they're resistant to letting us come in and get the process started, then we know that they're having trouble tackling it. And it's much easier to tackle it in small bites before pack day than it is on pack day or trying to figure out what to do with something after you move it to Fox Run.
So we can come in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it's going to take, and just nibble at it a little at a time. So, we can come in and work for an hour, we can come in and work for 3 hours this week and 2 hours next week, and just little by little we tackle it and we get through it.
It sounds like you're working with their schedule, what's convenient with them, with still the focus of getting the job done.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the whole point really is that you're starting that planning process ahead of time. Just like Nicole and Kristen are saying, taking a little bit over a longer period of time. So when it comes to move day, you're solely focused on that move and not making the decisions of, I still need to figure out if I'm keeping all those linens or, those, 8 extra wine glasses, things like that.
It's a very emotional process, and we're very cognizant of that.
So if you start early, and then allowing that time allows you to be patient because you accumulated everything over the last 30, 40, 50 years. Mm-hmm. And then also starting small and behind closed doors. So a linen closet or a bathroom cupboard or a space down in the basement, a storage space in the basement.
And I find, even for myself, because I've talked about this before and I share my own stories. My husband and I have lived in our home for 20 years, and we have a son who's 18 now. So, for many years we kept all the baby furniture, and it just, when we were done, it went down the basement. And starting a few years ago, we said, gosh, we've got to get this stuff out. We don't know if we're going to move right now. Maybe we're going to stay, but guess what? I want to be ready. So when we're making that decision, I'm not feeling so overwhelmed. Absolutely. So, I've gone through that process. We all have, of getting rid of things. We know it's emotional. And I am so thankful. I was so proud of myself when I finished a project. So I can only imagine what it feels like for our future residents, for our customers, to know they've started a project, finished it, and they build up that momentum to now do the next thing.
Mm-hmm. It can be very rewarding, but also a lot of clients will say they feel lighter because they're not feeling the burden of feeling pulled down by being overwhelmed.
We've heard that time and time again.
Yes. It's a good feeling, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So we were talking about some downsizing tips that you have to offer to our future residents.
So definitely start early.
Yeah.
If you can start today, that would be great. And be patient. Like we said, it takes years to accumulate. And then starting small and behind closed doors and chipping away at it and gaining that momentum that you just talked about. Another suggestion is to start with the least emotional part of your home. So if you are the entertainer or you are the cook or you like hosting people, maybe the kitchen probably would be an emotional place for you to start. So start at the less emotional place. Also, another area that we find is when someone has a dedicated office, the entire room dedicated to their office, that can be another hurdle. Maybe not because of emotion, but because of dread of cleaning out all those years of papers.
Yes. So I was just going to talk about paperwork a little bit because I've been into some homes that have had 20, 30, 40, 50 years worth of paperwork. Yeah. And, you may have your own in-home shredder that's going to take a couple copies at a time, and then it overheats, and then you have to shut it down and, let it cool down and start over. Any tips for what people should be doing with paper management and getting rid of old stuff, old paperwork?
So if you have that many years of paperwork, we suggest hiring a company to come to your home. They back the truck up and shred your paperwork. They can even shred hard drives from your old computers. If you don't have that much, we can take it in our car and we take it to a recycling center that will shred it. We have liability insurance that will cover that scenario. But other than that, other than feeding the page or two at a time through the shredder, it's us taking it to a shredder or having a shredder come to your home.
Yeah. So again, it's lifting that heavy burden off of somebody, because so often somebody thinks, gosh, how am I going to get these files out of my house? Sometimes people are more physically challenged than others. And it can seem like a daunting process. So you're there to help take that overwhelming away from people.
Yes, we can line up the shredder to come to the home, or again, take the boxes that need to be shredded away. So one less thing off your to-do list.
Are there any other tips that we haven't covered yet?
So we suggest not doing it alone. Enlist some family or have a professional come and help you. And also sort into categories. So what will be moving to Fox Run, what you would like to donate to family or friends, or to your favorite charity, or we have a whole list of charities that we often donate to. If you're going to sell your items, one asterisk here is you want to know, when in doubt, you want to ask a professional about a value of a painting or a collection that you do have. There's estate sales, consignment sales, and then also another note is to remember that it's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. And then our fourth pile would be recycling or it's trash.
And sometimes people want to create a fifth pile, which I've heard is the I'm not sure what to do with it pile.
No.
So it sounds like really the guidance is they want to be clear and concise. It's all about decision making and not bringing something to Fox Run only to know that you're going to be getting rid of it again.
Yes.
Because you'll be paying for it in the move. Physically, you'll be paying for it too, but you'll be paying for it to come to Fox Run, and then it'll be taking up space in your apartment, and then you'll still have to dispose of it somehow.
Correct.
A good idea for a maybe item is, instead of starting a maybe pile, which we highly discourage, is to set it back on the shelf and come back another day when you're feeling
A little less anxious.
Yeah, about that item.
That's good advice. Any other thoughts on the downsizing process and the pre-move, or anything else about your services that you'd like to let our future residents know about?
One good point is to remember it's just stuff, and it's attached to an emotion, or it's attached to a memory, and getting rid of the stuff is not getting rid of the memory.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you both for your time today. Really, our goal today is to just help inspire people to get started with some of the things you can be doing on your own. But know that you may have a bigger job to do. There may be other rooms of your house or a basement full of stuff, and that might take the work of a professional. And that's where Kristen and Nicole can come in and provide you with at least a free consultation.
Absolutely.
So that you can learn about their services and get to know them face to face and learn more about them and how they can really take that overwhelming away from the job of downsizing and moving to Fox Run. The goal is to help make it as stress-free and really is fun. I mean, I would say, don't you think you try to have some fun during the process too?
It is fun, and it turns out to be a walk down memory lane,
Yes.
and we get to know our clients this way. We find out where they were born and where they lived and traveled, and it is a really neat time that you can actually enjoy the downsizing. It's uplifting. It's not downsizing.
I agree, and that's one of my favorite things about doing a home visit is the connection that I get to make to people. And I often will allocate maybe an hour and a half of my time in somebody's home, Many times it goes 2 hours because we're talking and they're sharing things about themselves and, the trip that they took. So I find that one of the best parts about my job and getting to do what I get to do, and I know you
Totally.
have the same feeling as well. So thank you both for your time today. And I will have some information on the screen that will come up in just a few moments about their contact information. The next series, the third series in this virtual event, will be Move Day. And so we're going to have some actual footage. Did you want to maybe just give a little insight on what's going to happen for the third series?
Insight into we can show you some areas that we've downsized, and then what items our clients are moving and why, and some items that they're not moving and why not.
You're going to have some footage of you in action working with the client. We're going to feature some things about what it looks like on move day or packing day. So we'll be able to share that in the next series.